So welcome back to Claim Your Throne Queen. We have our queen here today, Tennille.
Hello.
I'm so happy you're here.
I know, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh my God. So I'm so excited because, I'm a client, I'm a follower.
You've been a client for a long time.
I have.
I forgot how I met you, and I think it was because you were a client first,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Amazing.
Those beautiful cakes. And you know what this podcast is about, empowering women. And I definitely had to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Because you started your business from scratch.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your business. I don't want to give it all away.
Yeah, sure.
Tell us.
So we started the business as a custom cake bakery.
Yes.
It was like a little custom cake studio, and I was doing more of the custom cakes. And then I realized very quickly that it's hard to scale a business that relied, solely on my hands.
Right.
So I created the cupcake carriage. And the
cupcake carriage.
Yay! I love it. I love it. It's my baby.
It's your baby, and what makes you different and
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I have a passion for teaching kids. And so this was just a perfect way for me to kind of create another model that was still in line with, what we offered, to just be exposed to the kids and to be able to scale. So we created a beautiful mobile bakery it's like a beautiful boutique bakery that comes right to your doorstep. It's on wheels.
It's very fancy.
Yeah. And we're giving out cupcakes and things like that for your events. And, I support a lot of realtors on their open house and their client appreciation. I think we've done
Yes, absolutely.
one of those events as well. And that's what we do.
I love it. So
Thank you.
I know that you've also been in Hoboken, and I mean, for a little bit, you had you were
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Where do you usually place the
carriage?
The carriage.
We go to 770 Jackson. You were usually there for retail, and Sinatra Drive, so right by the water. We sell cupcakes in the summer and stuff like that. This year we kind of took a step back because we are working on some big projects this year that I haven't been able to announce yet, but
oh my God,
I can't wait to.
All right.
And I had to kind of pull myself out of that so that I can focus on those projects.
This is good.
Yeah.
So tell us about the beginning. How do we start?
So I started off, doing custom cakes, and then
At home?
At home. Yep. At home. And then, I just always had I'm always a very creative person.
Right.
I love creativity and design and stuff like that. So I did it as a hobby. And then my son started to struggle in school. And so I had to kind of, at the time I was managing a doctor's office, multi-physician practice. And it was, it was taking a lot of my time. So it was hard for me to manage, the work-life balance.
The office and yes.
Right. And so I pulled out of that and started to do cakes when I was pregnant with my second child. And then it just quickly grew into orders and then celebrity orders and all of this stuff.
Oh my God. Okay. What was the first celebrity order?
I think it was New Jersey Housewives. I think that was my first celebrity order, which was really fun, and it was an experience. Yeah.
So what happens when you're on the phone? Walk us through this.
I mean,
you're picking up the phone and they say,
well, this celebrity, with the New Jersey Housewives, I was actually plugged in through the photographer.
Okay.
And then, so, there's the power of networking, right?
That's right.
And then, how else did and she's given me a few gigs, and that was reciprocated. Like, we both kind of took care of each other. And then after that, it was I was sought out by event planners and things like that.
Okay. So you meet do you meet them? Do you meet the Housewives of New Jersey?
Oh yeah, I did. That one was Amber Marchese. I think that's how you say her name, Amber Marchese. I met her, and she was so sweet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we went into her house.
So were you nervous? Okay, I'm making this cake.
Nervous. I was so nervous that my first time, forget about it. 'Cause you don't know what to
Right.
expect, if they're going to like the cake, because when it's something creative, it's like, oh my God, are they going to
know.
like this? But it was a hit. It was great.
I think I also saw some pictures of Alicia Keys. I'm not sure, right?
Yep.
Was it? Yes.
Yep.
Was it for the book? Or?
It was for her book. Alicia Keys, Mashonda Tyfree, I think you say her name, and Swiss Beats.
Yes.
They all created a book together about mixed families.
yes,
It's called
the
Blend. Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And then they had a launch party, and they hired me to create that cake. That was fun.
God,
That was fun.
is amazing.
I love those orders because I get to design from, those are like, it's not like I'm getting a picture that says, oh, can you duplicate this? Because that doesn't excite me. It's
Right.
when someone says, you have creative license, can you please design this? And I get to, go over concept ideas and color schemes and all that stuff.
And
So
then you're like, this is what
yeah, that's my zone of genius.
Oh, I love it.
I love that part.
So coming from, did you ever think that you were gonna get here to like be doing the cakes for the stars?
I
Was it a
always,
vision?
it was a vision.
Ooh,
Yeah.
tell me.
It was something, you daydream when you start businesses like this. You're like, oh my God, I want to hit this amount of money and I want to do things for the stars. And, and then you quickly realize like, what's really entailed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I did several celebrities and they are fun projects. And I think if there's anything I love about them the most is the fact, like I said, I get to design from scratch, because
Yes.
the budget is there. So I love those projects, but they are very stressful. They're very
Okay.
stressful. So, you realize, okay, this is what I want to do, but I only want to do these like once a year or,
Right.
once a month, depending on the project.
Exactly.
I don't want them all the time because there's a lot that goes into those projects.
So I always see you have your family with you.
yeah.
So tell us about that. Tell us about the family business and how everyone.
Yeah, that's actually, this year I'm involving them a lot more, like my kids. In the beginning, we couldn't, right?
Right.
Because it was.
But I always saw your husband with you.
Oh, yeah. My husband is, he's very supportive, very similar to your husband. He's very supportive. He's part of this business in every which way possible. And, a lot. I rely on him a lot. He's like my crutch. Whenever I'm doing like big projects, I need him there, just there.
Right.
It's
Yes.
funny because he's like, babe, like you don't really need, and I'm like, I need you there. Like if I'm on stage or if I'm,
Right.
doing these projects or if I'm pitching something, I just need to look at you to tell me that I'm doing a good job.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, it's
But
really,
yes, right?
he's
He
like
is.
he calms me down.
This
he
is
does.
so good.
Yeah.
So I've seen pictures where you've gone back home, like where you grew up.
Yeah.
Tell us about that and how that felt.
Oh my God, I have a story for that.
Yes.
For that question.
We're here. Let's give it to us.
When I started the business, you, like I said, you daydream. You're like, oh my God, I want to do this. I hope that I can prove the concept and we become so successful, right?
Right.
And so I was building the business and coming up with the whole concept, what it was going to look like, how I was going to touch my customer every single time, like what was every touch point when they call me to when they're looking at my brochure, everything, right? And it took years. It took me 3 years to build the cupcake carriage.
This is so good that you said this because I want people to know that this was not instant and how many years you have doing this already.
I've been in business for 12 years.
Yes.
And
it's not an overnight.
Yeah, no. So it took me about 7 of those years to realize cake design is not what I want to do. So I did that for a long time and it was very successful, but it was very stressful. And I was like, this is not going to be for me. I'd rather teach, right?
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when we created the cupcake carriage, it was just amazing. I was like, this is going to take off. And my husband was like, not convinced at all. He was
really?
not. No,
okay.
He wasn't. He was like, something's got to bring in this money. And I'm like, just hold on. I know that I can prove this concept. He's like, nobody's going to want to do a party in the bus, in a truck in front of their house. And I'm like, believe me, the way I'm going to design
the
it.
way yes, because this carriage is like anybody wants it in front of their house.
Yeah. And then it took me 3 years to design it. And then finally I launch it. And, I'm getting orders. And then I'm in the car and I get a call from this girl. She's like, Tennille, I've been following you for 3 years, been watching, how you've been creating this business, and I've been dying to book this for my daughter.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if anybody knows my story. I was born and raised in Harlem, lived in the projects when I was young, and moved to New Jersey in my first year in high school. It was like the end of 8th grade. And so, I was always wanting to go back somehow and teach them entrepreneurship, people that grow up in cities like this, that really don't believe in themselves, that, they have very little means. Yeah, that it's possible. So I get this call and I notice, my email, it says client booked. And then I see everything they booked. And it was like the full package. They booked the full package. And at the time it was like, oh my God, I just booked my full package, which, was a very high ticket price.
Right.
And then it came with a note and it said, hey, Tennille, I've been watching you for 3 years, been dying to book you for this package. And she's like, I not only want to support you, but I want to show my daughter what an entrepreneur from Wagner Projects looks like.
Oh,
I know. I really had to pull over and cry.
Oh, I feel like I want to cry right now.
And it was like my 360 moment that I was like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I always want to give back. And it was like, I know you're ready to cry. I'm like, I can't cry here with you. I cry all the time, Claudia.
That's huge.
But then I pulled over and I cried because I was like, I am in this really, you're in this to create a legacy. You're in this to, to build a business, obviously for your family, to create wealth. But I feel like we should always tap into serving, always. And I always went back to that. And every time I addressed my business, I addressed it that way because it became a sport to me so that I can teach somebody, you can learn everything you need. Knowing nothing, with nothing, you can learn and build every single step of the way, and you can make this happen.
Yeah.
And so when I got that call, it was just like my little...
That's it. That was your confirmation.
That I was on. Yeah, that was my confirmation.
And that was how many years in?
It was 3 years building the carriage. And then it was like the first year I launched.
Right.
I got that. She was following me for 3 years, she said. She said she was following me the whole time. So I know that was a long story, but I feel like it's not needed. A long story.
We need to hear stories like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your husband must have been like over the moon with this.
No, I called him. I'm like, because this is, I know. We had just launched. So I pulled over. I was like, you're not going to believe this. Look at this email. And I sent it to him and he was like, wow. And I told him, I said, this is just God telling me, you're on the right track. And every time I feel worn out, like, oh my God, this is taking so long. And, I
know. I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's what it feels like. It's like it's taking so long. Is it going to ever happen?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But when you stop and just look at what you were doing last year, I've come so far.
And what you create. Yes, exactly.
But it's still not, it's like never, especially for like go-getters, it's never enough. You never like sit back and look backwards. You just keep looking forward. Exactly. Okay, what's my next goal?
Where I want to go. You don't take the time to look what you've built.
How far you've come. Yep.
Exactly. Because I remember I did a book club. You remember the book club? Like sometimes this journey is very lonely.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you end up feeling like, do I have another woman that has gone through this? I mean, it doesn't even need to be the same, the same path, but I think that we all can relate.
Yeah.
That last book club that we did, I remember it was like Agent You, where she's like, you have to promote yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
You really do.
You have to find the courage to be like, I'm the best. Yep. I can do this.
Yep. You have to be your own cheerleader.
You do.
You do.
And that's another thing, right? So then we end up looking for different types of community? Tell us that, because I know you've had a journey with that as well.
Yeah. I mean, entrepreneurship is a sport. And with that comes a lot of sacrifice,
Yes.
a lot of sacrifice. And, people that are not in it do not understand what this requires. And it requires really all of you.
More than all of you.
All of you. So, you have to connect with like-minded people. You really do, to keep you on track. I actually just went to a seminar in Puerto Rico just recently.
Yes.
And it was, it was called Hello 7. It was a network of all women of color who are hitting like 7 figures and above. It was amazing, this event. And just being in a room with so much energy.
Yes.
It was like, oh my God, I've needed this for so long, where you can actually talk numbers and you could talk your goals and everybody just want to hear it and want to help you, and vice versa. It was like,
it pushes you.
Yeah, like I'll connect you with this
motivates
person.
you.
Yeah, let's do this.
Networking, absolutely.
Yeah, it was just a powerful event, and it keeps you on track. So building community is key. Like those book clubs that you do, it's full of women that are working towards something.
Yes.
Yep. That are not looking at your success as their failure. It's almost like, let's connect and let's make each other win.
And I think that that's something that I know I've definitely been focusing on how to, hey, Tennille, how can I help you?
Yeah.
How can we help each other?
Yeah.
Because along the way, sometimes you're like, damn, we're by ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not a lot of people talk about it, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like you have this whole big community until you start building your own community.
Right. Right.
And then that's when the magic comes in.
There's a lot of magic in that. Like you can't do this alone. You can't build things alone. You really can't. Like a lot of people get into it like, I don't need nobody. No, you do. You do. We all need, we just need the right people.
Exactly.
We need the right people to keep us grounded, to keep us focused. We need the right people to make connections, especially in our community. I have to say that.
Yeah.
Especially in our community where, it's a time that we have to, you see all of this stuff going on, in the news and I think if everybody tapped into what could we do, the little things that we can do to uplift our community, that means giving another Latina business.
Absolutely.
There's enough for everybody.
Yes. And why not? It's like one of those things that we sometimes we kind of want to avoid them, but it hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It hurts. It's like, how could you not want to help me?
Yeah.
How could you not want to lift me? Well, lift each other.
Yeah. I think one of the things, I've had this conversation with my husband before because I remember there was a pitch competition I did, and I had done a few because I was trying to raise money to build the carriage.
Yeah.
And, I hope I'm not hated for what I say, but I have to say it.
No.
So, I went to several pitch competitions, and some of them were like all white women, right?
Yeah.
And those competitions were very, they were willing to network. They were, shaking my hand. People that I was going up against was like, right when we're done, let's connect after this. Give me your card. Let's see how we can collaborate. And then I would do other competitions where it was like predominantly Latinas, and it was like they were sizing me up. Where I was like introducing myself and they were like, looking at me like, oh no, she's going against me. I'm not having this conversation. Right. And I noticed, the difference. Right. And I started to tap into that. I'm like, why is that? And I think, I had this conversation one time with a girlfriend and also with my husband. I think what happens is, right, because I'm Latina, I know what it takes for us to build things, right? And I know, and it's a struggle because we don't have, a lot of us don't have the phone calls. We got to build that. We have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I feel like because of the scarcity mindset that we come from,
right,
it's like, I worked so hard for this, for somebody to come and take it away. Where I think that if we worked more together, we'd grow so much.
Yes.
You know, and I realized, like, if you just shook my hand right before that pitch competition, like, your business complements my business, my business complements yours.
Exactly.
Let's collaborate, not compete. You know, I think if more of us would get into that mindset, we'd really grow.
And those other women, though, they were not just thinking about that moment. They were thinking about what happens after this.
Right. Right.
Like, they were not just thinking
because
about
that moment
that moment is real quick. It's going to go very quickly.
Exactly. Even that money.
Exactly.
It's like the relationship is so much more valuable. You know, I have connections. You've referred so many people to me.
Absolutely.
You know,
at my conference, you couldn't make it because you had other, obligations. I was like, listen, this is the woman. I put you on my pamphlet, and I was so proud to do that. You know what I mean?
Because that.
As realtors, you're always trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And listen, she doesn't have like 5 carriages yet. So it's not like we were going to all have her at the same time.
Yeah.
But it sets us apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I wanted to give my best, and I wanted to share the things that I do for my clients.
Yeah.
And you were definitely one of those.
Yeah.
So I forget it. Everybody was crazy about it.
Thank you.
So I'm so, and the certificate, right? Somebody won the certificate, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh, good. Yeah, they haven't used it yet, but